You guys, please welcome Esther. We're really excited to have her here. We are talking mental health and we're talking, mental health awareness. I think the very first thing I'd love to ask you is, if you are comfortable speaking about it, can you tell us a little bit about your own mental health journey and what mental health means to you? Yes, please.
I needed to drink water. That's an interesting question, and I would say it's the first time I'm being asked. Don't mind me. I'm used to hosting people, so when I'm hosted like this, I feel happy.
Okay.
My mental health journey, I'd say that I've been very intentional. That's the word. I have been very, very intentional. I mean, I went through different processes in life, trauma and all of that. And I mean, I would say that the biggest challenge or the biggest trauma that I had to deal with as regards my mental health was the switch from family units to being a single mother. Now, that's something nobody prepares for. It's like you just finding yourself in the middle of the well and you've got to climb back up, somehow get your way back up, right? And
how long, if I may ask, how long has that been? Like, you transitioned, how many years now has it
almost
been?
10 years.
Okay.
I've been a lone parent for almost 10 years. And yeah, I'd say that the journey, during the early stages of that, it wasn't quite rosy. And that's because I was a young mom. I always tell people, for those of us who gave birth very early, in our 20s, motherhood is quite different for us because we had to learn a whole lot on our own. And what I had to do in those moments was to be intentional about my mental health. Why? Because I realized I was raising children, still raising children. And I knew at the time that, listen, I told myself, your children deserve a mother who is not only capable, but a mother who is a safe space. And so I went into therapy because I had to tell myself the truth that I was going through a process that I had accepted, but I needed to ground myself to say, okay, this is my new reality. And in this new reality, I need support system on the journey, because if I don't have those support systems around me, I don't want to crash. My children need me. So I'd say that my mental health journey has been one filled with me being intentional, putting my self-care first. And, what that moment also taught me is the power of self-love. And a lot of people, when they go into marriage, sometimes they lose themselves. And then when you come out, it's hard for you to start loving yourself. So I have to continuously remind myself to say, I am powerful, I am needed, I am valuable, my children need me. Those constant reminders, were some of the things that helped my mental health. Because, to be honest, I always tell people, you can lie to everybody, you can't lie to your therapist. And
you can't lie to yourself, or you shouldn't.
To yourself and even to your therapist. So I had to tell her, so there are days when I'm there, in terms of me just being able to go through the session. And there were days where I have nothing to say, because then I'm having flashbacks of maybe my experience, my past life, or something that I was not able to manage very well as a mother, So I'd say that, once again, my mental health has been one of me being intentional, me prioritizing my self-care, putting myself first, and knowing that nobody matters, but me. Now, for a lot of us who are empaths, when we go through trauma, when we take on other people's energy, we don't know when to stop. We are always on the go, 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 go. And I'm always proud to tell people that I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I am an empath to the core. However, I have to now say to myself, I don't want to invest too much in other people's problems, because now I had a lot to deal with on my plate. So the switch, what it did for me in a little way, was to help me identify what is important, what is urgent, what is needed, and what is wanted. Well, the moment I was able to identify those things, well, I would say that, the journey has been blissful so far.
Wow.
It's not a walk in park, because people still don't understand the dynamics of single motherhood. Let me just put that out there. And I always tell people one thing: except you went into a marriage with an agenda, when that marriage crashes, it is not going to affect you because you had an agenda. But if you went into a marriage with the mind of building a home, with the mind of setting, and a family unit that will last forever. Yes.
Yeah.
When something happens, when there's a crack in the wall, you are going to be affected. So, and that's the dynamics of single motherhood that I'm saying, because then people just feel that healing from moments like that means that you just pick yourself up and the next day you're fine. No. Something just happened. I mean, you're building something. It's like building a house, right? And then everything just comes. Imagine all the money you spent, everything, and then the building just collapsed. What's going to happen? That's a huge loss, right? That's the same way the dynamics of single motherhood, is like you got to pick yourself up and start building from the scratch. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much. I really love your authenticity, your vulnerability. You spoke about being able to identify what is urgent, what is important, what is needed, and what is wanted. That takes another level of wisdom, I'm telling you. And I know that's for sure. And self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Self-awareness to know you are not perfect. Self-awareness to know that you will make mistakes sometimes. Self-awareness to know that sometimes when you're going through a process, you identify how you cope. For some of us, when we're going through stuff, we shut people out. For other people, they're used to talking to people, right? So that's why I said what is important, what is urgent. So for some people, it might be their support system that is urgent to them. For other people, it might be their solitude and their tranquility that is important to them, right? The beauty of it is for you to understand people, know how they want to be loved, and respect how they want to be loved when they're going through any form of trauma. So the moment you push too hard, sometimes when folks are going through stuff, you're going to move from importance to another, because and nobody want to carry baggage with trauma. So,
yeah, that is so true. Wow. So you've touched on a lot already. You've spoken about self-awareness, about knowing what you need for yourself, but you've also spoken about being cognizant of what other people could need and respecting their boundaries and respecting their own needs.
Yes.
I just feel like, okay, so let me take you a little bit back to some of the mental health awareness IG, Instagram lives that we've been having. I know that you joined in some of them. We've been talking boundaries. We've been talking about being multidimensional and our relationship with money. So I'm asking, and I would love to hear from you, because I know that and you've already touched on the fact that boundaries are important in your mental health. You are a multidimensional person, so it applies to you. In your book, you spoke about affirmations and your relationship with money and the money mindset. Can you just give us a little bit, anything, your thoughts on any of these topics? Let's hear from you, because you are a fountain of wisdom, I have to say. And I'm not gassing you. I'm not exaggerating.
Thank you.
You have been through trauma. You've advocated for others. You've paid it forward. You are a mom of two and a single mom at that, and you're doing so well.
Thank you.
Please, I want to hear from you, please.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you.
Let's start with being multidimensional.
Okay.
Now, it's a blessing and a curse. I would say that, because when you are a person you're multifaceted, and that's because perhaps God deposited so much inside of you as a person, right? You're going to have different dimensions to you. So for me, when I started out, I'm like, okay, God, what exactly do you want me to do? So I'm advocating for people. I can write. I'm very good with PR. All of these things came to me because life brought it to me as opportunities that I grabbed very early in life, in my early 20s, right from my university days. So I'm saying to myself, should I let this go? Right? All of these things that God has deposited in me. So I had to sit back, right? My passion pushed me out first. So I had to sit back to say, okay, I don't just want to be popular, I want to be relevant. How can I be relevant? The only way that I can be relevant is to find an intersection between everything that I do. So you can know Esther, who is the advocate for work against rape, like my Wikipedia page still says. And then there's the Esther, who is the Women of Rubies. Right. And then there's the Esther who people know as Mama War. Like my early days, I fight for people like you know, folks who are helpless and hopeless. So in the beginning, you know, I'm like, what do I do? So I had to sit back and create an intersection that says I can still be the media girl and advocate for women. I can still have a platform where I can talk about rape without me being actively working against rape all the time. There is a platform, and that's intersection. You know, so now sometimes when people say, I don't media advocacy. Yeah. So, right. So, meaning I am multidimensional. Sometimes I can be this person, and sometimes I can be the author.
Yeah.
That just wants to sit and, you know, write. What that means is that there are a lot of us who are very unique. And if you cannot embrace your uniqueness, people are going to continuously judge you, and you will listen to those judgments. And because we are very self-aware that their destiny is attached to us, when those projects, ideas, wonderful initiatives come to us, we just want to explore, right? We want to go out and see, you know, what's going to happen. And what I've done, I would say that I have been able to create a bit of myself, you know, in different spaces. So there are people who are still in the mindset of, Esther, no, Mama War. Like, and there are people who would say, girl, you need a PR person, you know, it's Esther. And I love that. I love that because I have created different persona in a positive way. So it is not people talking about controversy. Why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because of folks who are watching. If there are people like me in your corner, in your family, who are multidimensional, who are very skilled in different things, encourage them. Encourage them to find a level, you know, a ground where they can have an intersection with everything that they do. There are people like that, you know, they are successful in everything. You know, JLo is an example. So the other day I wrote about the movie Mother on my Facebook.
Yes.
And
I love that movie. Oh my God.
And this guy came and said, she's not a good actress. She's not. So he actually ended up highlighting all of JLo's skills. She's not a good this. I said, do you know what you've just done? You've just told us she's multidimensional. She has different talents, and she's successful at everything. As an artist, she's successful. As a businesswoman, she's got a perfume line. Now she has a gin brand. I said, listen, there's a level of grace that some people carry. When they know that grace, they explore, they utilize in the moment, because they know that sometimes God just opened that portal to say, accept this, do this. I mean, look at the movie Martha, for example. For me, I feel that that woman, she's been trying for years to prove herself in the industry.
In the acting industry, yes.
And I could see the way she pushed herself in that movie. Now, that's a woman who is multidimensional, who is very successful, who has done so much.
Multi-millionaire.
People still don't rate her. Now, I'm also sharing this because, you know, folks, there are a lot of people who would think that, their mode of life, their way of life. Okay, I'm into climate change, and that is what I'm sticking with. That is you. Respect people who can do climate change, environmental change, media change,
financial change.
Some people are like that.
Yeah.
Right? As long as they are producing results, as long as they are adding value, and people are benefiting from these skills, you know, you need to give them grace.
Yeah.
Right. So let me now move to, you know, the other question you asked about affirmations. Do affirmations work? I've been getting that since I released my book. And the question I always ask people is, before you bought my book, or before I started talking about affirmations, did you ask the internet if affirmations work?
Because, you know, you came out with a book and said how to make affirmations work for us. So we're like, really, does it really work? But I mean, because you wrote about, your money mindset.
Yes.
And you wrote about our relationship with money and spending and saving. And you're like, oh, some of the affirmations there is like, I will spend on only what is needful. I will think about myself as a kiniko abundant something. And I'm like, okay. As I'm saying the affirmations to myself, I'm like, is this thing really, really working? That's why I'm asking you.
I mean, yeah, for you, I would answer that, in all honesty, because I know that beyond who you are also a mindset coach on your own. And you know that everything starts from the mind.
Yes,
and that's what affirmation is all about. Everything starts from the mind. So when people say, does it work? Yes, it does work. What energy are you putting into the universe? It comes back to you, right? So if every day you wake up and you're saying, God, I cannot be successful, no, all these rich people, it's only Dangote that they will never see people like us. You're going to become your reality on the long run.
Word.
That's the truth. Same thing for affirmation. So what I'm saying is, listen, the same way you can have negative thought, why don't you switch to positive thought? Why don't you start saying something positive to yourself? Because every day you're complaining about maybe poverty, lack of money, not having enough support. What are you doing about it? Right? So why don't you start mastering the art of using your mind to set yourself in a positive way? Meaning, speak life into yourself. Stop being negative. Listen, we all have negative moments. It is inevitable. When something happens, there are some of us who are just, this don't happen again, right?
Yep.
While there are people who immediately they're able to say, no, I'm picking myself up, and I'm speaking life over this situation. Why? Because they've been able to groom their mind to a frequency where they only see positivity. They are not, and that's not toxic positivity, because toxic positivity is another level where you are not really positive, but you are just managing to be positive so you look good. Nah, I am saying your mindset is at par with the energy of positivity. Even when you feel you have nothing, you just have hope that something good is going to happen, because you're also working towards it. You are not being idle. So I'm not giving you magic. I'm not saying, affirm to yourself that I'll be a millionaire, and you are not doing anything, to work towards it. What I'm saying is that you can become a millionaire when you work towards being a millionaire, but then every day you practice a routine where you are constantly speaking to your goal, speaking life to your goal, to say, this is where I want to get to in life. This is what I want to become, right? So it's not magic. It is just me saying you can have a mindset shift to become very positive. And yes, I am going to say this once again, affirmations work, because it works for me. It worked when I needed to feel myself again. And it is always going to work. And that is me again. You see my mind, three-dimensional. I am speaking to my future. I talked about my past. I talked about my present. That is to let you know that despite anything, that I'm that girl where I could be going through everything for me. Everything. But listen up. When I show up good.
Yes, you do. Actually,
when I show up good. So I'm that girl that somebody could say, that girl, say she be single mother. You don't know. But when I step in, I'm stepping with the energy, knowing that I have like 10,000 angels behind me, working with me. That is the energy I pull on myself.
Yes.
I can cry right now, and the next minute you see me, and I'm all smiley and everything. And that is because I have trained my mind that, listen, crying is part of your emotions. Crying is part of you being human. It is okay to cry. It is okay to feel sad. So I'm not saying because I wrote a book now, I will not cry again. Or because I wrote a book now, things will not happen. No, life is going to happen. It is how you deal with those moments that matters. So I have trained my mind to say, when these things happen to me, Esther, what do you do? Do you collapse? Do you break down? Do you just stop everything? No, I keep pushing. I keep pushing. So what I wrote in my book, it's what I have tested and what I trust. I have used it. It took me 2 years to release that book, meaning I went through a situation myself. And in those moments, I realized that aside from prayer, God needed me to be very positive. You can pray and be saying, I don't know if God will even answer. I said, because I had to pray every day, right? But then when you
Yeah.
pray, and the Holy Spirit is saying, don't just pray. I need you to speak
Speak
things over your
out
life.
loud.
Speak it out.
Yeah.
Tell God about that health challenge. God, I am speaking to my health. I am whole. I am healthy, right? You know, those things, they all work together because it is you pulling a certain energy to yourself. That energy sometimes is going to confuse people as well because people won't just understand why you are glowing. They won't
And that's one
understand.
thing you do, actually. You glow. I have to say, I have to say you glow. And let me just add my thoughts with regards to
Mhm,
when you pray
mhm,
and you're saying something that is different. It's
mhm,
almost like you're canceling it.
mhm,
You pray and you say you want something, but with
mhm,
your lips, you're saying something else. With your mind, you're going in the other direction.
mhm,
So that's one of the reasons why so I watched an Instagram live and they
okay,
were talking about, I'm not sure what the topic of the Instagram live was,
mhm,
but the lady is an acquaintance. She was a friend back in
mhm,
Nigeria and she's my namesake. And she was
mhm,
talking about orikis. She's like, orikis, sorry, just to break it down for people that may not understand. Orikis are the ways in those days and even now in the Yoruba culture
mhm,
people would be hailing you. They would use your name, the meaning of your name, your position in your family, the impact your birth had on your family or on your parents. They would take all the stories of how significant you
mhm,
are. They will use it to hail you.
mhm,
They do it when you are born. They do it
mhm,
when maybe there's a celebration, when you are
mhm,
getting married. Your mother in those days, or your relatives, or the people like your
mhm,
elders, they will call you. Yes, it's a eulogy, exactly.
mhm,
They would call you by your oriki. They will use
mhm,
it and craft
mhm,
words.
mhm.
Those were words of affirmation. We're
Yes.
calling it affirmation now. That's the
Mhm,
English way of
mhm,
saying it, right?
mhm.
But we've been doing this thing long before.
Yes.
For people that are biblical and are Christians, like imagine when, for example, when the Red Sea parted
Mhm,
and Miriam burst into singing
mhm,
and she was giving a eulogy to
mhm,
God,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
That was also, it was like she was hailing him, giving him his oriki. You
mhm,
understand?
mhm,
We do it ourselves. Like, you want to tease, for those that are married, you
mhm,
want to tease your husband. You're in a good relationship with him,
mhm,
right? And, you probably just drop some money or you want him to drop some money
mhm,
and you're like, Olowo worry me, this, that. And you say this and you say this and you're my darling, my sweetie. That's also still a way of affirming a person.
yes.
When your son or your daughter does very well in school and you're
Mhm,
like, I'm so proud of you,
mhm,
you are this, you are that, and you affirm his or her identity, you
mhm.
tell them who you believe that they are and who they will be in future.
Yes,
Those are affirmations.
absolutely. I agree with
I
you, and I like
hope,
the dimension you brought into
yes,
this.
like so I am convinced, me myself, I know I asked you the question, but I wanted you
Well,
to.
I mean, that's a good point you made, and I have to say that a lot of us are too woke
Mm,
that we forget things like what you've just said now.
mm,
Um, and I mean, even today, they're still in existence. They still do the Oriki, you know.
yes.
See, there are women who do Oriki even at home to their husband. I was watching a wedding, and this woman was like, see the guy just praying money because she was just going from his ancestors to his sixth generation. The guy, oh, I said, that is it, because he was affirming on her husband in a
Mm.
very, like, people felt her energy in the room. At the point she was
And,
crying,
and she
you know.
felt it too.
Yes, because I mean, and that's the beauty of affirmation. That's the beauty of positivity. You know,
Mm,
it's not, it doesn't mean you won't have problems.
mm.
My thing is, listen, you see that problem, swipe,
Swipe.
swipe,
I
like,
love it.
swipe and be in the moment. I
Mm,
cry, I break down, I have my own
mm,
bad moments, I've got my
mm,
own BS. But one thing that I will never do is to break and bend.
mm.
I always tell people. So I can call you now, I'm like, oh, I'm going through heat. Oh, but the next minute, I'm like,
You pick
Holy
yourself
Spirit,
up.
activate. Holy Spirit activate. So I have my power spot too. That's another thing I'm going to tell
Tell us
people.
about that. What do you mean? What do you mean
Power
your power
spot is something that I learned from Chris Wowe. So the things that make you happy. I actually had to go through. I had to go through a 3-month class for that. You know, it's a session by Chris Wowe's organization where it's your personality dimension, how to know yourself, and you have a past. You have things that make you happy. So when you are sad, so we're given an assignment. It said, go home and let me know what's your passport, and then you come submit it in the class the next day. We're all asking the way you ask, like, bros, what's passports? And then it said, the things that make you happy. What are those things that just pack you up? Like the moment you see those things, you know, what happens to your emotions? Do you switch from, you know, one mood to the other? And I wrote down that in that moment, I realized, my God, I had passport and I didn't know. Food was one of my passports.
Yes.
Right? I'm like, girl, I didn't know that cooking is therapeutic for me. Okay. You know, and that's one thing. It sounds funny to people, but listen, when I'm cooking, I'm affirming. I even shared it on my Facebook page. I think that post even went viral. When I'm cooking, I am affirming. Because I've gotten to a stage where I realized that when you are a prayerful person, you're not alone. You are never alone. If you are a prayerful person, you are conscious of the fact that you're never alone.
Yes.
And those energies are always around you. Your angels, your guides, whatever, you know. And when I'm cooking, I use it as an opportunity to speak life. It's just food to some people, but I'm saying, Father, this food, we are never going to be hungry in this home. I am speaking to this food, God, that I will never beg anybody for food. My children will never beg, either now or in the future. I am speaking life that, God, as we are eating this food, that these children, God, I am speaking into their destiny. They are eating God's divine favor. They would always, I've gotten to that level for me because, listen, I'm speaking from experience. You sometimes, when you go through pain and you find your purpose, you become a new person. You become a new person. And because I opened myself up to healing, to teaching, and to learning, right? So
healing,
you can imagine me
and learning. Beautiful.
When I'm cooking, as in I'm like, Father, in my Yoruba self, because me and my Yoruba is Oluwa mo ń sọ̀rọ̀ mo ń pa Olúwa mo ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run ẹ̀mí mímọ́ bí mo ṣe ń ro àmàlà yìí Olúwa ẹ má jẹ́ kó jẹ́ àjẹmọ́ fẹ́mi àtàwọn ọmọ mi ní tọrọ jẹ ní tọrọ mu Olúwa ẹ mọ̀ pé mo ti tọrọ rí mi ò ní tọrọ mọ́ nínú ayé mi àwọn ọmọ like. And I feel it. So to some people, if you come to my house and you're saying like, I'm always they happen now.
This one a warrior session, prayer warrior session.
But because I would not be waking up the time we wake up here for like an NSPPD for over 2 years, and I'm not spirit filled. Like, what is the report I'm giving to God when I pray as a Christian? So it has to manifest in everything around me. Now, that doesn't mean that I am perfect. It just means that I have mastered my power spot. I have mastered how to use my power spot to help me heal, to help my mental health. So by the time we are eating, for me, I am making sure that I am eating with relish and pleasure. Listen, might just be that small portion of amala, ewedu, and omiobe. But the way I eat the food, I am eating like, God, you are here with me. You know, because there's a level of pain, once again, that if you have begged, if you've hit rock bottom, you are seeing that food and you're like, girl, I'm not going to ever go to that level in my life. I am never God. This food, though, it is me that will be the provider for helpless and homeless to other people. You know, and it's the mindset. It's not magic. It's not like you put something in your mouth, but I have just trained myself to love me so much, to be aware that I don't walk alone. Like that song by Victoria, what's her name? I get back in. That song is powerful. We don't walk alone. And when you are conscious of that, that's when people come to me and they say, oh, Esther, I'm dealing with this. The first thing I have to, you pray. Because let us start with that. Do you pray? So go and lay it at God's feet. When you do that, then go and relax and start speaking life over the situation. And people will look at me like, well, yeah. Because I have bad situations where I'll be bothering myself for me over what is not. I'll be worrying why God is working. And by the time God is done with his work, I will not blame myself. God,
Where was
all that energy,
I worrying all this
why
while?
was I worrying? You know, and a lot of us are like that too. And it's not because we want to worry. It is life. We don't want to fail. We don't want to miss out. We don't want to be seen as, you know, failure. I have been through so much, my sister. And I think I see one of my ex-classmates, she's been in the comments, like he knows me.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking as a woman who has seen, a woman who has conquered, and a woman who is always going to stoop to conquer. And when you get to that level, when you have that mindset, listen up, nothing for me, nothing and absolutely nothing in this world can face you. You get to that level where you just are conscious of who you are in God. Your mental health, your emotional well-being, you go just irradiate. Even people when know your problems self with the one and I go to tell, wait till they make this one they happy. This one we know to get money like that. But I get money inside Holy Spirits.
I love that. I love that. You've spoken so much about knowing your identity. You've spoken about affirmations, about prayer, knowing your power spots.
Yes.
Those are, you know, we will call
spot.
them self-help tools. But I just also want to highlight to everybody, some of us may just be joining. Esther has said she also did therapy. So we are not saying that you will pray, then you will not do any therapy.
Go
if you
therapy.
have been through years and years
I'm still in therapy.
It's not like
I'm still
exactly
in therapy.
So
and I'm still in therapy
using
because
it as a caveat.
I'm still in therapy. Let me put that out there because you're going to post this. I don't want people to always feel like everything is magic or prayer. I'm a realist. But I know how to separate spirituality and reality. That's it. I know when to pray. I know when I need help. And I know myself when I feel overwhelmed, when I have stress ups and I need to distress. And I know when it's the only way I can distress is by having an outlet, a therapist who is not only going to listen, but identify what I'm going through in that moment. Let me know how I can navigate it. So please, if you need therapy, prayer, God does answer prayer. However, there are times that you need to go beyond prayer and just speak to people who are professionals. It is also God that is using them for you. You see? It is still part of it. And I know people would say, oh, therapy is expensive. That's why Funmi is here. You know, she's got a platform for that. So if you need a therapist or you need to speak with someone, I'm sure you can follow Funmi, ask her for the resources she has, and that you can explore. So I've said so much about spirituality, and I'm happy that Funmi brought it back to the reality of everything, because you don't go to the world feeling like, oh my God, this therapy self is nonsense. It is not nonsense. Everything that I'm saying now, the confidence, the energy that is oozing out is because I've had a strong support system.
You put in years.
Professionals. And every time I've got a BS, they are able to call it out to say, Esther, this is what you're going through. Or they can also tell me with empathy to say, give yourself grace. It is normal for you to feel that way. So please, if you need therapy, do not change therapy for any other thing. Just go for therapy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for helping to balance that for us. So apart from, so we know we're talking about self-help tools, because let's say therapy is like external, but some self-help tools that you've spoken about is identifying your power spot, affirmations, prayer. Are there any other self-help tools that you use in your personal life that you can share with us? Books, okay?
My book, number one. And there's a book that I bought here. It's by Justine. It's called Overload. How to unplug, unwind, and unleash yourself from the pressure of stress. And I've had this book now for 4 years. This is my go-to book. So you can see I have pages that I close up, my go-to places. So I have them like that, just so you know. So
books are a good resource for you.
Yeah, and that's because she's a Christian and she's a realist and she's a mother and she's still in marriage. So in a way, she's also been able to identify women who are not married and might be going through life. So for me, as a mother, this book is a immediate tool for me and my go-to book all the time. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just like, okay, you know what? Let me read Joyce Meyer's book.
Yes.
Because she didn't only talk about how she distressed. She talked about her early stages when they started the ministry. And those are the kind of stories that we need to hear. You know,
to know,
we are so used
a lot of people like see things in the glamorous side. They see the end results. We don't see the backstory. We don't see the backstory of what people, experienced in the early days. So good.
Yes. So this is my go-to book, my self-help book, and I meditate. My daily routine is like this. Sometimes I don't follow it all the time because I'm a realist. Some of us wake up sometimes, we have to go into motherhood mode and school runs. But I meditate. I'm a very faithful meditator, and I have mastered how to be in the moment and practice mindfulness. So I can do water meditation. I can meditate through visuals. So meaning I could go and play frequency music on YouTube. Let that be playing on the background while I'm just visualizing something, maybe a goal that I have, maybe my parenting needs, or maybe some responsibilities that I have. I've mastered myself, to that level. For water therapy, I do that when I'm having my bath. I'm in the shower. So I am able to stand still under the shower for, good 10 minutes. Just be still. And what I'm doing in that moment is just to release myself from whatever stress. And in that moment, I'm the only person that matters. My breath, the water, those are some of the things that I do to help myself, to stay mentally balanced. Because once again, as a single mom, it's a lot. Sometimes you need your me time. But those me time, sometimes the children they'll come right into it. And you're like, okay, here we are. So when I get overwhelmed, because I do get overwhelmed, I am not a robot. When I feel like okay, I'm not quite there in terms of my emotions, or maybe I am stressed out, I use any of my meditation, techniques to help myself. So when I wake up in the morning, my routine is to pray first. Thank God for NSPPD again, that has turned us to. I pray, and then when I pray, I meditate. I've said it on a lot of shows, I can meditate for 1 hour. So I can be still for that long and not do nothing.
So many of us find it hard to quiet our minds.
Well, I find it hard too. Sometimes that's if there's something on my mind. So what I've now done is to make sure that first, because you see this, our phone is a distraction, right? So meditation, sometimes I turn my phone off, or I take it out of my space completely, right? Because electronics have their own energy too. So you can start meditating. That's when your friend wants to come and give you one gist.
Yes.
And, you cut it short. So if you cannot be still in your mind for at least 5 minutes in a day, you might not be able to manage a whole lot, right? So I have done that, consistently. So it means that when I'm going through stuff, I know how to just go in my quiet mode. Sometimes I also have to isolate myself. That's another self-care for me, because I don't like to bleed on people. I don't like to bleed on people. And a lot of people don't understand that. So somebody's going through stuff. You think they shut you out. They might be protecting you from the energy of whatever they are dealing with in that moment. So I have mastered how to just, take breaks from everything. When I'm dealing with anything, for me, nothing else matters than my mental health. I'm sorry. Nothing in this whole world, well, aside from my children and my parents and my family. Like, if I'm dealing with something, I can shut things out and just be in the moment. Why am I in the moment? One, I don't want to bleed on people. Two, I realized that when I, first went into my switch from family unit to single motherhood, I wasn't able to manage my emotions very well in the beginning. So now I am beginning to realize the best way to manage my emotions when I'm going through stuff. And the way sometimes for me is to either speak to people that can provide solution. So I'm not just going to pick the phone and talk to anybody random.
Correct.
And that is because I always tell people that whatever I cannot brag about that I said, I don't like to say it at all. And when your emotions are all over the place, you are likely to jam talk. And when you jam talk, out of everything you said, people might hold on to that one thing that you said wrong. So for me, I've mastered, because I've made those mistakes in the past, right? And I'm saying to myself, or I say to myself all the time, that listen, girl, speak to people that can provide solution. So before I came on this life, for example, I had a 1-hour session on my therapy. And that's because, we had the session today already, right? And I was discussing stuff with her, like, putting her up to date with a couple of things that has been happening, because now the relationship has moved from a traumatized person to a person who is now, in control of their emotions and can share and, just sort of like dissect. And what did that do for me? By the time she just, gave me some this, like, give yourself grace here, give yourself a little more grace there. You're doing fine here. I don't think you should bother about this there. It helped me. So coming on, so I finished the call. I just went to glam up myself.
You were ready.
Like, let me look good for my sister, because listen, man, ain't nothing gonna keep me from this live show today. So I'm also sharing this for folks out there to let you know that I've said so much positivity. You saw the energy in the beginning. I'm letting you know that I go through my moments. I am single mom who I am still, in a way, trying to balance
your life
together, and I understand there are sacrifices that I have to make as well as a single mother. And those sacrifices, it's hard to explain to people, because the dynamics of kindness is different in the world for me. I have now come to understand that people are kind to what they understand. When people don't understand something, they're not kind. So you can be telling somebody that, sorry, I'm not able to come for your event because I got to stay with my sick child. A person who is kind on the surface,
I've never had a sick child,
who does not have a scar. And that's why I always don't, there are problems. Okay, let me not move. Anyway, the person might not understand. And that's surface kindness. People will just say kindness, but don't understand the dynamics of kindness. So they don't know how to put empathy forward. The first thing is, not only you get speaking,
that's so unkind.
You get speaking every time, children. And I'm like, okay. So for me, what I've learned is that people, however, a person who is kind and understand kindness, the first thing that will come out is to be empathetic. Oh, I'm sorry, do you have support? Do you explore daycare? Would you
can I help you?
Can I help? Is there a way we can, find a way around this? How do you manage this if this comes up next time and it's something important? You see? Yes. That is somebody who understands kindness and is not kind on the surface. So people are only kind sometimes to,
to the level they understand.
Yeah. So you give them grace. And that's why I tell people, be careful who you're telling your problems, because if they can't provide solution, you're going to be more angry. When you finish.
That is so true.
When you finish talking, because there are people who are very blank to scars, like Pastor, what's his name again? I always forget it. Pastor Selman. Okay. Pastor Selman would say that do not share certain problems to people who don't have scars. People who don't have scars, they will never understand what it means to have scars. People who have privileges sometimes cannot see beyond their privileges. So when you're talking about problems, they are seeing privileges. And those privileges will let them always speak from what they understand. And they're telling you, but you can do it this way. But you are like, girl, for example, I don't have a car, girl. Exactly. Right? Because they cannot relate. They can't. Yes, thank you. And it is not a problem. It is not, they're not bad people. I used to take it personal until recently I realized that, listen, we're all raised differently. A child that was raised in Makoko that found their way to the abroad, and somebody that was raised in Banana Island, listen, the way they're going to see life is going to be different. Yes. One is going to be more empathetic towards life. Yes. While the other person is going to have a mind of privilege. So when they achieve something, to them, it is their right. But to that person in Makoko who perhaps didn't have school shoes, right? That person is going to hold on to that success, like, this is my life. So what I'd say is, in protecting your mental health, be mindful of the spaces you share. Be
Thank you.
discerning as well, because you
Yes.
do yourself a lot of disservice when you're going through anything in life and you share to the wrong audience. Believe me, you don't want that. I have made that mistake, and it is normal for people who are traumatized to sometimes share with wrong people, because the people come to you like they care. In your mind, you think that they care and you want to pour out. But when you're understanding enough, you know that, listen, let me wait and share that problem with someone that can give me a solution.
So good. So good. I've actually learned from you and from what you have said. I myself am thinking about, okay, have I opened up to the right company of people?
Mm.
Am I pouring or bleeding on
Mm.
others? If I'm going through something, the right thing to do is to take some time maybe and step back a little bit before choosing carefully who I share with. Thank you very much for those words of wisdom.
Yes.
I want to open up the floor to anybody that has questions for Esther. We have spoken about so much, and I really want to encourage those that are just joining us to catch the replay. Esther has spoken authentically. She has spoken about her own life, her transition from being in a family unit to being a single mom of 2 children, and that is over 10 years ago. She's
Almost,
still here and going strong.
almost to.
Almost 10 years, sorry. And she's a multi-dimensional person that has been known for different things, but she has evolved and she has allowed herself to evolve and grow.
Yeah.
I want to hear if there's anybody that has a question or a comment, something that they would like to share. And while the audience is thinking up or would like to share any questions, Esther, I want to ask if you can give us just like a beginner's guide to somebody who is trying to prioritize their mental health. From your experience, somebody that this whole mental health thing is like they haven't yet gotten it quite right. They may have like a different perspective to mental health. They may think that, oh, mental health are for those that are walking on the street or the people that are cuckoo and they are going to Yaba left. A beginner's guide to someone who is trying to prioritize their mental health. Please, can you give us maybe 1 to 3 steps, something really easy that layman, something we can work with, something very practical, please.
Number one, be sincere to yourself. Yes. Don't be in denial. A lot of people are in denial because they're scared of being stigmatized. And once again, I'm speaking from experience. When I became a single mom newly, for a long time I was ashamed. I was ashamed to share because, listen, I'm the girl who has helped a lot of other women out there. I'm the go-to girl when people are going through stuff. Now I'm now the girl who is all
Who
by
needs
myself
help?
with 2 children who need help. And I was so ashamed. I didn't know how to navigate that. It was new to me. And in that moment, I had to accept my truth, that this has happened, and I had to come forth, and be sincere. Because there were a lot of people who were still calling me the missus, the missus, the missus. And I was just accepting and accepting and accepting for months. And I was like, girl, you don't want any missus here.
Yeah.
And I also told myself, I don't want to chase any destiny helper away too, because, man, I need help, man.
I love it. I love that.
So I could still remember the day I shared it on Facebook. People will say it's nobody's business. No, I understand I'm a public figure. There are women who follow me. I don't want people to follow me for the wrong reasons. And I shared because I wanted them to say, listen, if you want to unfollow me now, please do so. And there was also someone who was privy of the information, like a blogger. I didn't want that because, listen, I'm a media girl. You're not going to hold the pen and write my story. No, I will write my own story myself. So I shared in a media way because I've mastered that, to let people know, listen, this is my situation without oversharing, because that's another problem people have. So I shared from a place of, listen, I'm not looking for pity party. I am just saying that this is what I am right now. This is my status, my social status at this time. So number one, I'd say be sincere. We all go through stuff. Don't be ashamed. If you feel your mental health is not there, it doesn't mean you are going towards the bad left. If you are having mood swings and you've just been traumatized, accept it. Embrace those emotions. It is normal. No, but we are not created to be robots. God created us to feel.
Yes.
So if at a point you don't feel like yourself, the best thing you can do is to be sincere to yourself and seek help. So that brings me to number 2. Seek professional help. So you don't re-traumatize. Once again, I'm speaking from experience. If you don't seek professional help, you are going to overshare to people who are not supposed to be in your business. You are going to overshare to town criers who are going to embellish, add sugar to everything you've said. You are going to share it with people who don't really care, but they just want to listen and disseminate your information.
Ears are just itching.
They want to know what's going on. So I'd say share with the right people, share with people who can provide solutions. I am very, very heavy on sharing with people who can provide solutions. See, there's a thing with support system. Have support system, and I think, I don't know who said it, but have compartments of people who are in your support system.
Yeah,
those who are like your 911 friends. You know those friends that they can drop everything for you. You can complain a million times, they will never get tired of you. And there are people who, they are your resource friends. Friends who can easily tell you, girl, oh, you're going through this. I know a therapist. Oh, I know Funmi. Funmi has a platform. You know, let me send you the link very quickly. You know, and I also have friends who would say, let me know if you need help, you know, with paying for XYZ.
Financially.
You know, so financially. Now, the reason why you need to speak to a professional is because a professional is going to help you navigate that problem in that moment. But if you speak to any of the people that I mentioned before, you are going to compound your problem. You overshare. Write it down. You are going to overshare. Because when you tell them that they drop the cup on the table, they are going to come back to ask, what was the color of the table with reverse psychology? You will tell them the color of the table. They will come back and say, you mean that table is black? I thought it was white. And then you want to say, no, I think Let's Do is raising up.
The table was red.
Baba, you want to ask a question? So
if you want to ask a question, please drop it in the chat. Thank you.
I think he's just waving. Lexi, you know, he's a top, one of our music legends, by the way. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. Welcome.
So yeah, like I said, so speak to a professional. And number 3, embrace healing and change. Listen, when you heal, you've got to evolve. Change means that thing that used to be a problem, you stop addressing it as a problem. You see it as a stepping stone to you becoming a better person.
Yes.
When you cannot get to this number 3 without number 2, because number 2 is going to help you stay grounded. Grounding is when you have that balance, and you know that in any time, at any point in time when you're going through stuff, your emotions are still there. You're not going to lose your mind. So that's going to help you with number 3, right? And then you can embrace change. You can say, yes, I failed. You can say, yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I went through this, and now I am a better person. And when you identify your flaws, when you know your flaws, girl, kings and queens, ain't nobody going to use it against you.
Yes.
Listen, whatever flaws you have in the world, the moment you can speak to yourself and say, these are my flaws, I am willing to change, I have human flaws, I've got BS, nobody can use them against you.
Yes.
Because you are self-aware. So, and the only way you can be self-aware is when you know you need healing. And be open. The change that I mean is that know the healing pattern that you desire or you require. If your healing requires you isolating yourself, become isolate so you don't bleed on people. Because there are some traumatic experiences that will make you bleed on people. Like you'll be acting out of character. And people might target as maybe you're not mentally okay. But because maybe you've been triggered in the past, and when those situations are similar to the things you've had to deal with, your trauma response might come from a place of anger. And it might come from a place of, you just trying to prove yourself to people. And by the time you start proving yourself to be, you're going to overshare. I am also sharing this to let you know I'm also a work in progress. So every time that I come on any show, I tell people I keep it 100. I am not a perfect person. I'm a work in progress. I also have my moments because, for example, being a single mom, the other day somebody was saying that, I think it was a Facebook thing, that they listed something and the person said, minus single moms. Like something just opened in my head. Something just like something just opened in my head. Like, minus skinny. Are we
not human too?
What do you mean, my dear? Should I read my skill sets for you? Abi, the school that I go to is this single mother that I used to enter school. I don't understand, and I'm saying this because, in those moments you can be human and just not be yourself because you want to address something. However, when you are an unhealed person, you will not let people take you back to the unhealed version of you. Meaning, when those moments come, the first thing you want to do, for me, my technique is especially for social media, because I know there are badly raised children on social media, and I am not a rehabilitation center for any child that was badly raised. So, my dear,
Esther wants to kill me today.
I am not. So here is what something happened on my Facebook recently that I could have called. I don't do call outs. I don't do drags. So I would rather lose engagement. I can deactivate my socials to avoid drama.
Yeah.
I have gotten to that stage where my projects also run. So I am not a missing in action. I'm scared of I'm missing something. No, girl, anything that is for me, God's gonna bring it to me. But if God knows that I removed myself from a space to avoid drama, because I don't want nobody to bring out the unhealed version of me, and not even on social media. So these three things, like I said, you can see I gave examples for you to know that we are all humans, right? And don't engage in social media drama. I am begging you. Listen, if you are known for drama, for dragging, for those things, nobody's going to take you serious.
Yeah.
You can invite you to the table, they will make sure the table is not strong enough. Or they'll give you a seat at the table and make sure that the chair is going to break, because they're already programming you to fail. They already know that you are going to, use you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, and when you do a lot of drama on social media, people don't know that. The people will start squinting. There are people I avoid on Facebook now, for example, because everything is drama.
They don't want drama.
You use drama to draft traffic. You use drama to have followers. Girl, ain't nothing on your Google page that your
drama distracts from destiny, like one of my mentors says.
And they don't even know that it's a mental health issue. That is why I'm going to Funmi. If the only thing that fuels you to be popular online,
drama,
pulling down other people, there is a mental health issue going on that you've not identified.
Correct.
It could either be a trauma response with childhood trauma that you're fighting. We all have different childhood traumas. Listen, the average Nigerian child has gone through trauma, because it's either trauma in the home of a parent that shout because they don't know any better, or the trauma even the schools where the teachers just is so loose with words and they speak down on you. However, do not bleed on people. So for me, like I said, my own method is I deactivate even my WhatsApp. For me, I can go, sometimes I deactivate my WhatsApp 1 week if I like, 5 days. If I have business with anybody, as long as you have email, I'll communicate with you via email. Anything that would disturb my peace, I have gotten to that stage. And one of the things I told my therapist, at that stage where I can disconnect to find my peace. Meaning, if you are down, you are going to look for me because I am important to you. You see? But to now say because of something, living in Nigeria is a very traumatic. I totally agree. Yes. And that's why a lot of them are still so dramatic. They want to use drama as a fuel. So all I'm saying is that find your power spot once again. Find the things that work for you. What makes you happy? In those moments where you're not feeling yourself. Is it your children? Is it your husband? Is it watching a movie? Is it going out, taking a walk, right? Anything that would make you feel like a better person when you're going through a situation is your power sport. And the moment you can embrace it alongside the three things that I've mentioned, believe me, even if you don't have Shingbang,
yeah,
you'll be at
yes,
peace. Me,
yes.
I always tell people that the periods that I wrote, the best articles that I wrote in my life were my rock bottom moments. I don't know how for me, but now that I look back, I realized because I was in therapy and I had support. So I was pouring my positive emotions and healing journey into those articles. And when the awards started flooding in, I remember that year, award left and right. And every time they nominate, I'm like, these people don't know what I'm going through. You know, but then I realized that when you're going through stuff and you don't hurt people because you're hurt, the universe would repay you with something so beautiful, with emotional balance, with kind people, because you would always attract your kind. For some reason, people are going to come to you to want to support you. You won't have to struggle. And folks are going to wonder why. You know, it is not magic. It is not because you have one jar somewhere. Because the seed you've sown, God saw you in those moments when you were down. But instead of using that pain to hold back in helping other people, you use that pain and turn it into your purpose, something so beautiful. You really think God doesn't see those things? He does. And when he's going to reward you, he's going to reward you with kind people. And that's one thing I always tell people. Don't just pray to have money. Don't just pray to be successful. I am begging you. I am saying this from experience. Pray to have kind people around you. Listen. A rich person that is not kind is not a good person. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you have. How you treat people matters to me. So a kind person who is genuinely kind is going to see beyond what you need from them. In that moment, they are going to not only stand by you, they will never get tired of standing by you. And that's what kind people are made of. They are never tired. They are always there. They are always there to listen. They're always there to support. And also be a kind person. It's a two-way traffic.
Yourself. Yes.
Kind to yourself and be kind to people. So
and
when
you
you
already said
people,
that is what you put out there. Yes.
It's the same reason why I wrote my book, for example. When people say, I said, listen, because I am a person that has been helped. You will never see me come along and be shouting self-made, self-made. No, self-nibble.
I love that. I love that. That is such a beautiful realization.
I am people made. Every day when I received an award the other day, somebody saw the eulogy, I'll call it, that I wrote on my Facebook, admonishing the people who gave me the award and my elders. And I start, I said, listen, you think I'm just writing those things? I have children who are going to grow up. I am sowing good seed for my children so that tomorrow they can stand. I'm Esther Ijewere's daughter. And somebody will remember that when they supported me, I acknowledged them. My mother taught me something that I'm teaching my children too. If you give me something little for me, I will say that thank you to you. I will thank you. I'm going to acknowledge you. Tomorrow we feel you, but I would, in that moment, you are my helper. And that is also from a place of healing. Because when you are emotionally balanced at a particular frequency, you seek kindness not as a privilege, right? You see it as God blessing you. So when somebody gives you 10K, for example, you're like, hey,
what's thank you?
You only thank you. Your mate will give you other people 100K. However, if you have a kindness, somebody give you 10K for me, you are saying 1 million naira prayer for them. Next time they will remember me, I'm that girl. Give me small money. I will pray for you fire. Give me small opportunity. Mention my name at the table. No, I'm that girl. I would even amplify. My mother also taught me, no, my uncle, late uncle, Bolaji, she also taught me something. Always find a way to repay people's kindness. So when people support me, I don't let it go. No. I always make sure that I give them a memory too. So you support me, I'm going to support you back. To say thank you.
That is true.
Because
that is true.
That way we are all balanced. And when you pray and you see the things that I also did for you, Esther, God bless Esther. When I also pray my own prayer and I see the things you did for me, I would also, pay kindness forward. And that's why you see some people, no matter how bad they talk about them, for me, no matter what people say about them. I have seen people that people are bad-mouthed and they are thriving. There is no magic.
Because they've paid kindness that is working for them. They're reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And that's
so
why I
true.
always, it's important to also know the level of grace people carry. So you can be seeing trauma. God is seeing his own child. You can be seeing a person who is broken, but God is seeing perfection. So whatever you see about somebody, that's not the way God sees them in the spirit. Right. And that's why it's important that when you have human flaws, they are easy to correct. One flaw you should never have in life is spiritual flaw. That's it. That's it. So you can have human flaw. You can be, people can say, oh, she's nasty or she's this, she's that, because those you can correct with therapy, active listening, taking corrections. But you see, spiritual flaw is the reason why you see some people acting like Ellen online, because the spirituality is not grounded, right? You don't pray. You don't believe in God. Every time they are speaking about positive things, they are on Insta blog speaking against people's good news. Everything good to you is clout. Somebody will post that they just bought a car. To you, it is a fairy. You go there and start posting. Rich people, you will not remember people like us. They will not. When 10 years to come, the people are still going forward. You there where you did. You say village people, they do you know?
They're just spewing out negativity.
Yeah, exactly. And those spiritual flaws, sometimes they affect people's productivity, because you cannot be speaking against people God has designed for grace, and you don't expect, right? To not have the moment. Nah, it doesn't happen that way. I see people laugh. I saw some of my friends in the comments. So I always love when I'm invited, to share things like this. And that is because one of the most beautiful part of my life journey is my healing journey. I love talking about it. I love that I'm an imperfect person. It gives me joy. I don't want to be the best.
You said so much that I've really learned from, and for me, it's a privilege to have you on this platform. You spoke about healing and learning and growing. You said the three major things that you said, first of all, for a beginner's guide to someone prioritizing their mental health. Yes, me, I learn, I listen, I'm taking notes in my head, you guys. I don't know about you people, but you said number one, be sincere to yourself. Yes. Accept what it is that you are going through. Then you said seek professional help. Yes. Don't go and share with people that only their ears are only itching. They want to hear from you. They want to know what your problem is. They don't have solutions. They cannot prefer any solutions. And then you go and overshare with people that are not meant to hear. Yes, Peju is taking notes. No, me, I trust Peju. Peju is always taking notes. She's on our lives. She's taking notes. She's one of our support coaches, by the way. She's one of our volunteer trained support coaches. And so speaking of which, you said seek professional help. People that are trained to listen non-judgmentally and will encourage you with solutions. So I want to just, it's a plug here, but I'm not ashamed because that's what we do. We're giving free mental health support coaching sessions. They are for free. You get on www.TheVirtualSoulClinic.com. If there are people that are here who have never heard of the Soul Clinic or the Virtual Soul Clinic, please follow us. Please engage with us. Please check out our website. Like I said, it's free support coaching sessions. Yes. You also said, embrace healing and change. Yes. That while you are on your healing journey, things will change. You yourself will change. Yes. Right?
Yes.
You've helped us. You've really helped us.
About you is going to change. You would feel it, except you are not sensitive, except you're not mindful. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Mindfulness is a skill on its own. And mindfulness has the potential to confuse people about people's personality. So I'm that girl that would go somewhere, and I always tell people one thing I brag about is my spirituality. And that is because I know God. I have prayed to a level where I embrace God. I love the Holy Spirit, right? And I do not go into spaces without saying, God, go with me. So I know how to read the energy in the room. That's me. And you get to that stage, know where you are needed, know where you are wanted.
Know what is important, what is urgent.
That way to protect your mental health. So these things I'm giving you is to protect your mental health. When you know the places you are needed, know the people who rate you. Listen, rate who rate you. You are not wicked. Don't overcompensate loyalty. I recently, it was a session that I was having with somebody, and I said, I just realized that I had Stockholm syndrome in friendship with certain friends. And
Stockholm
my friend said, I said,
Wow.
I said, I just realized I had Stockholm syndrome with certain friends. I said,
Okay.
who's that? I said, because I realized that there were certain people that I put on a certain pedestal. And when they disappoint me, it affects me. And then I realized that I keep going back to them because I see them as something so huge.
Yeah.
And
so you're so attached.
And I feel so attached to them, either because we have history, either because they know part of my journey, or because of the sense of loyalty. So I watched something, and I remembered a video I watched about Steve Harvey, where it talked about loyalty expiring, that sometimes loyalty has to expire to some people. And that if your loyalty does not expire to those people, you will continue to be stuck in those relationships. So this is also me calling myself out of my BS. And I said to myself, Esther, you do have Stockholm syndrome in friendship with these people. Why? So I drew up a table, and I realized that it was because of certain things. Subtle human worship, exactly. And I said to myself, I got to break free, And the problem is this: when you identify something as huge as that, your breaking free might mean that you're disconnecting totally. Now, those people, the thing about Stockholm syndrome is this: the people who benefit from your lack of boundaries, by the time you disconnect, you are going to turn out to be the bad person, because they've benefited from you not having boundaries in those relationships. They've accepted you being the one pouring and pouring, being the, just you being there all the time. So I said to myself, I am still going to be kind, because I'm a girl that is well trained from home. I'm still going to be human with these people. However, I am removing myself.
I love it.
I brag about that. My mama trained me well, for me. I don't, I tell people.
Because there's so much going on now.
You have to be upfront with your home training now, so that before people come to you, let them know that you are don't bring it to me. Don't bring it to me. I'm well trained, but I know how to give a good read in a very Tabitha Brown way. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. So you can imagine me discovering that about myself. That is healing. There's a level of healing. In another situation, I discovered that I was overpouring to somebody, and that I was selfish, because every time I just keep, pouring, because this person was older, this person had always been there for me since I was 18. And I realized I never for once asked, how are you really doing? And it was always me just complaining. And the guilt held me in the moment. I said, wow, Esther, this has been a one-sided relationship. If this person decides to disconnect from you, you deserve it. Because they are older than you. However, you have not asked them this question
on them
that they ask you. I even check, hey, how are you? But I don't ask, there's a difference between how are you and how are you really doing. How are you really doing is you don't want a generic answer. You are saying, let's talk. Right. And how did I correct that? I was upfront. I apologized. And the person's like, oh, no. I'm like, nah, don't do that. Don't let us marinate this. Don't marinate this. I'm not Jack chicken. I'm being I'm being sincere with you. I have not been a good person in this relationship. So you see the two dynamics of what I've shared.
Yeah.
On one hand, my healing journey, and because of my trauma bond with certain people, I overpaid my loyalty. In the same vein, there's this other friend who has just been there for me all of my life journey, all of it for me. And I realized, and that self-awareness is also from a place of healing. I'm like, wait, this person is not always responding to me the way they used to. But then when I was upfront about it, they try to play it like, no, don't worry. You know, I'm like, don't be humble with this. I've not been a good person. And I want to apologize, right? And I just realized that you have your own problems, you have your own challenges. I should be asking about those things as well. Not every time, you listening to me. And I am saying this to everyone listening right now. That there are people in your corner who are always there for you. Every time, hey, this one, they are there. Oh, this thing is not working. They are there for you. Please take a break from you pouring into them and being a channel or being poured into. Just let them know that you are there for them. Ask those questions, because we don't know what people are going through behind the keypad. They are just typing, oh, I feel for you.
I'm good.
Oh, I am there.
Yeah.
People are going through stuff. Me, when I am going through stuff is when I will be. And that is because when I am going through stuff, I have also mastered my heart, my mind to sow kindness into the world. It doesn't mean that people are pretending that they're not going through stuff. No, I will not let my problem define me. I'm sorry. I'm not that girl. I don't wear my problem on my forehead. I tell people, no, I was not raised that way, right? I was raised to share, but I was also raised to say, listen, when you're dealing with stuff, hold it together. Don't be everywhere and then you fall and nah, not even in this social media age and time. The moment you scatter small like this, aha. Oh my bad, I don't be cheaper.
People's ears are itching. That's the truth.
Yes, and when you're a very positive person, one thing I've also realized is that when you're a person who is constantly sharing value and you're very positive, people feel like there's more to you. Yeah, there might be more to you. But I always tell people, what is your business with what is more to that person? Accept some version of them they want you to see. That's on period. Accept the version of them they want you to see. As long as that problem does not affect you, as long as that whatever they're dealing with is not a problem for you, give them grace, accept the way they want to be loved, accept the way they want to be communicated with, let them come around. Because I am that person, if you pressure and probe, Mama block here. I don't like.
There are some things that are not your business. It speaks to boundaries. There's some things that are just not your business. If the person doesn't want to share.
People don't know that for me. You and I both know that one of the biggest problems in the world right now is boundaries. And people who even talk about boundaries sometimes, they are the ones who don't know what boundaries mean. I also realized that a lot of people don't even like the boundaries, right? It's the same reason why you see all these coaches online. Build structure, build structure. So when you now come to somebody's organization and they say, please speak to my VA, you are hungry. So why are you saying that build structure? You say somebody should build structure. They have structure. They have project coordinator. They have this. You bring a project and they say, please, can you kindly speak to my PA? So that, and then you are hungry. I've seen that happen many times. And I'll go and screenshot their post and say, wait, Ungwan, are you not
Didn't you say we should build that structure?
Must I be
available all the time? I love that. So you don't need to be.
Yeah, it goes to show that a lot of people are just talk. Social media has made everybody whatever they define themselves to be. You know, by the time you start talking to people real deep, for me, you're going to see them. By the time the things they preach, they are confronted with it from another party, they're going to break because they don't like it. You tell someone to build structure, but you don't like it when you're directed to speak to someone who is a subordinate
or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, you cannot be telling me about mental health. And I see a lot of people do that. I'm sorry, your industry, I always tell people, we need to know the people who are real.
It's okay. I mean, no big deal. There will always be real. There will always be counterfeit. No big deal.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, listen, whatever it is you put out there for people, because you cannot be preaching about people protecting their mental health. But when those people are your close friends and allies, you are the one who is not protecting their mental health. You see? So when you tell people protect your mental health, please make sure that you're also true to the mental health. You are kind to the mental health of people around you. Example is you being out there and known for something. But then when people come close and passing out to you, you're a different dimension of that person, or perhaps you have user mentality. And you are the one who does not joke with your money. But you want to use people. You see what I'm saying? So
yes.
like, that's why I told you I read people's energy. For me, energy is big, and I always tell people, if you want to read it, you might want to do energy work for yourself, affirm it to yourself. Just tell people, Father Lord, keep me grounded. Let me know where I need to be. Let me know with who I need to be. Guide me through. I know I will make mistakes. I can never be perfect.
Yeah.
However, I want to be where you call, where you call forth for me. Because there are a lot of people who disguise for me, who need mental health solution. Listen, but this topic, is it that I am speaking because there's a lot in my mind.
Yes, we have
people,
a
because
lot.
the people who are vulnerable, I respect them more online. For me, I have seen professionals who are all glam and beauty. Girl, by the time you get close and you have like a little rings with them and they start dropping it like it's hot, and your mind, you're like, girl, thank you, Jesus, that I know therapy. All that money and you can't go to a therapist because you see a vulnerable person as being weak. But you that shows that you are strong out there, you are breaking, you're falling apart. And that is because there's a facade that you want to maintain and you're not accepting the fact that you need help. So I am being dimensional in everything I'm sharing, because just to let you know that being a media girl, I have seen things. As an advocate, I have also seen things. As a women's advocate, I have 200K women on our Facebook page. That is to tell you that I have met different kinds of people in my life. The ones who want to come with you, ISIS, kaka. They want to know more about you.
Wow.
And the ones who really love you, right? But they feel like they're not worth being in your space. And how do you treat those people, right? So all I'm going to say is that be a kind person, because we can talk about mental health from now till tomorrow. Who are you when nobody is watching? How do you help people in your space protect their mental health? That friend that is going through something, they're going through stuff. Should you now be the town crier, right? You are reaching out to every other person about that friend you are worried about, but except that person going through it. You just want to gossip.
Yes.
You don't care. So how do you protect people's mental health? Reach out, be intentional. Somebody's going through something. Instead of telling every other person you feel they're going through it, I have had to shun people sometimes. That's your friend. I've not seen that person online. Why don't you reach out to that person?
Exactly. You can
want to hear something from me?
inquiries directly to her.
You want to hear something from me? You're not going to quote me, girl. You reach out if you really care. It means either you want to gossip about that person or you want to hear something. So all I'm saying is that we all have a responsibility in the society to protect people's mental health, from our homes to the way we behave on social media to the way we behave with our friends, right? So if your friend is going through anything, please, the best thing you can do for them is to support them,
One last question before you leave, and I know that we've exceeded time, but this question, I really hope that you're able to share with me what you do to help your children. What I mean is, what way have you modeled your mental health strategies to your kids? For example, you will notice this red rope. Can you see my door? Can you see that red rope?
Yeah.
So that red rope is my signal to my son. He knows that when the red rope is on the other side of the door, please don't disturb mommy. Sometimes it is when mommy just needs to sleep. Sometimes mommy needs to cry under her duvet. Sometimes mommy is in a meeting. But whatever the case may be, she has that red rope, and it's like a boundary that my son has come to understand. He's 7 years old. He also knows that there are some things that I do intentionally, like working out. And he knows that after mommy has worked out, she is in a beautiful mood. The hormones are rising. She is happy. She's excited. You know, he knows that mommy will play gospel music, worship music. He knows what it is. He knows the tools I use for my self-help. So I'm wondering, what legacy, or how are you teaching and setting an example? Maybe we can also learn from you to teach and to help our children, you know, for the next generation, so that their own mental health, they can thrive in it. And this, I promise, is the final question, because nobody dropped any question in the chat, but this particular question, I want to hear from you very quickly.
First thing, I am very grateful to God. One thing that I would always say one thing I've not done is to bleed on my children.
Thank God.
The moment I entered into my switch, I realized that my children are not my therapists. And that has helped me all through my journey. So good. They're not my therapists. So yes, let them see the sacrifice. It is okay for them to see you cry sometimes. Don't sugarcoat emotions for your children, so they don't grow up to be too tough. Right? You want them to see the subtle side of you. So that's one thing, just to put that out there. Number two is, I do not badmouth people in front of my children. Either the other parent or anybody at all, I deal with my own thing on my own end, right?
So good.
I deal with it on my own hand, because I don't want to mess up their mental health.
Yes.
And that is because I'm very self-aware to know that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, these are their formative years. They are going to remember the things that they probably saw in me or see me do, and they might want to emulate that. So I don't badmouth people in front of my children. The one that should be number one, but I just have to put that out there because of my status, and because I understand that I've said a lot of things, so people know where I'm coming from. Kindness. So God be the glory, my children have received awards of compassion, award of justice at school, peace, best students, who has displayed peace. And I think that should tell you something about my parenting, meaning the C. I let them see kindness. I let them know the meaning of compassion. So in the house, we practice kindness. Children are going to fight. However, I also know when to come together as a family, to apologize, learn how to say sorry. We don't sleep on anything in this house. Something happens, we address it. Right? No bad language. Yeah, children are going to pick stuff up from their roadblocks, their friends. Those things are inevitable. And let children be children. So I am not looking for perfect children. I'm raising humans. I don't want to I just want to raise humans. Humans who are going to be empathetic, humans who understand pain. But in the same vein, I also know they're not therapists. I keep saying that because I see a lot of single mothers who just, those kind of things people say. That's never going to happen in my home. Because the things you feed them with, it becomes a part of them. And they might become what they learn, through that process, and they start manifesting it. So even when my children get bullied at school and they bring it to me, I make sure that I'm able to address it in a way that will still let them show kindness to that child. Right. So I'm not going to tell my child, go to school and slap that child. Next time, let them know who your mother is. I'll come to school now. Right. So in the same vein, I'm also teaching them to speak up and stand up for themselves. So I have a child who is assertive. I have one who is very quiet. I understand their personalities and I embrace it. I don't shut it down. I have one that questions everything. So I try to manage it, because if I continue to, I don't like it sometimes as a mother. She questions everything. However, I realize that it's going to help her on the long run. Meaning you don't bring BS to her. You don't tell her white is black. So she's also the person where there was a time we went to Fresh School. And this guy was trying to come to my front, like, you want to move, you want to jump line. And my daughter goes, sir, my mom was there. My mom came before you. Sorry, my daughter just pulled me. Girl, people like on the line, folks are like, Who is this
Yes. She
shameful girl?
doesn't
Like,
take that.
no,
Yes.
don't try my mother, man. Like, what's that? You know, that kind of look.
Yep.
and, and then she went and, you know, she just did this, yeah, I did that,
I love
you know. And
Right.
well, because they've seen through me. So one thing I like to let them see, they know about my work. In fact, there was a time on Facebook I used to share when I have my session, I would always discuss with my children, except for sessions that are very sensitive. I would tell them what I'm discussing about. I would tell them the people, you know, those are some of the ways that I protect their mental health as well.
Yeah.
The other day we were
Wow.
watching a movie and the movie became so emotional and we're all moisty and moisty in the house. So what I did immediately was to just pause because I realized
Let's
the
talk
movie was
about
going to
it.
be where it could affect their thought process
Yeah.
by the time they go to school. And I
Yeah.
don't want the academics to be, you know, affected or going to school and they're writing their journal and they're saying, we watched the movie with mommy. That I'm like, okay. So those are some of the ways that I, you know, help them. Like I'm live now. My children listen and they're active listeners too. So I am
I love it.
going to be on a live show. Girls, please, can you give mommy 1 to 2 hours?
Yes.
Before I get on a live show, my children can cook. To God be the glory. You know,
Hallelujah.
and they supervise cooking as well. So they know how to quickly dish their food. Listen, I'm not raising lazy ass girls, man. Nah. I'm raising humans that are
Yes.
empathetic. So when they see me overwhelmed, they know when to do the dishes
They
for
know how
mommy.
to
You
help.
see,
Yeah.
they know how to help. Those are the ways. And I also know how to let them be children. If you want to play Roblox for 4 hours for me, let them play as well.
On a
Yes.
Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Weekends, just do you, you know. And, you know, weekdays, they know the boundaries. Girl, whatever you're going to do on that river has got to be educated. And you got to
Yes.
come back to me and give me a
And tell
report.
me what you learned.
But in a loving way. Because the tone you use with your children is what they are going to understand as they grow up. It is the way they are going to see you. So if you are nothing like that in this house. Nothing. And I don't know how, but I would say that it's my healing journey. I would say that because I've been blessed to have a lot of kind people who are very close-knit to me. I am blessed with a family who is also kind and very private. So they get to learn values from, say, my younger sister, from speaking to, say, my brother sometimes, you know, from my friends who are asking questions. So that's the way I'm protecting their mental health, because as a single mom or a single dad, it is very easy to raise children who are going to bleed on others. And when you see children like that, please, it is not their fault.
Yeah.
Those parents don't know any better. I am informed because I have access to resources. I have seen children who are badly raised, and I am very conscious of my parenting. So it is not, I'm not a perfect parent. I try to manage things. I try my best to do what I can as well, because I give myself grace too. You don't want to kill yourself in parenting. You know, so those
Need
are
to
some
be
of the
there.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I need myself too, you know. So, and they know that. So if I say the other day, over the weekend, we went to the pool, you know, and we were there, we had fun, leisure swimming, we did every, from there we went. I also treat my children well. So I'm not raising children to think poverty is a lifestyle. I'm sorry. My apologies to anybody, please. I'm sorry.
I get
No,
you.
no,
So
no, no,
well.
no, no. No,
Yeah.
we go for fine dining.
Yeah.
Like I
Yes. We have
would set
fun.
phones
Yes.
aside, go for fine dining. And
Yes.
yeah, no, don't come and grow up and you think minimalist no, you can be minimalist when you want to be in your world. But in my world, you learn everything as a balance. And the same thing, I let them know when there is, okay, listen, this is what we have in the house right now. Girls, can we manage it? Right now, I don't want you guys to waste food. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But when we now go out too and we want to treat ourselves, I give them those moments.
Yes.
Because you don't go to school and your friend is saying they hear something and you're like, please, what's the meaning of that? What is clown? What is clown? Oh,
really?
tiger streams. What is tiger streams?
Yeah.
You know.
I get you.
So I mean, and it's from a place of abundance for me. It's from a place of healing, a place of self-awareness. You know, to say, I have gone through this. Should my children go through that? Should they pick up the negativity of my experiences, or should they pick up the good side so that they become better humans when they grow up? And when people see them, they're going to ask them, who raised you? That's the last thing I'm going to say. I'm raising children where they walk into rooms. Sorry, miss, who raised you? Yeah. And then you can see that's my name. So those are like, just to say, and I try to elaborate it because
like you've answered perfectly.
Yeah,
you've been very intentional.
I try to make sure that whatever I'm saying, I'm not, sharing things that I've not tried. I'm also not sharing things that are not realistic. It is my world, but that's it. And I'm sorry the poverty part, is I never hammer, but I am sorry. In my Yoruba, where they taught me, I'm sorry. So
you don't need to be sorry, for real. It's your truth.
Because people take things personal. Me saying that, I'm not raising them. No, I'm very mindful of that, right? That could be somebody's reality right there. And I'm very mindful of that. I always like to seek balance when I discuss, but this is my own reality. And that is because I also know it is very easy to raise children with that poverty mindset. If you don't take time.
Yes.
So I'm not the woman that will go to Gucci and start closing shop if I don't have money because I want to put money on credit card for children. I'm sorry. I will not do that.
I hear you.
But I am the mother who, if there's something academics, children, I will be there.
And there's something you can afford, you will do it.
I can afford to my sister. I don't do past myself, and that's another thing I'm teaching them. They don't come to me. So if you see something, mommy, my friend, I don't have the money. My friend, I don't have the money to do it. But don't worry, in good time, I'll be able to afford it. So I'm that realistic with my children. I don't sugarcoat. If I want to splurge, I'll splurge and treat them. And that's the way it gives me joy just to see the balance they're having in parenting. To know that sometimes it is rosy and sometimes, it is not. And they also have savings. Let me also have that. My children have savings culture mindset. So my children have piggy banks. I've posted that on Facebook several times.
Oh, yeah.
When my friends come to the house, when we go out, or people give them money. So my children have piggy banks. Sometimes I have them do tax in the house. And I, drop $2 here, $5 here. So they have savings culture, meaning my children would save to buy things for themselves. You see? I've trained them that way, invest. So my daughter would say, Mommy, I want to buy XYZ, but I'm going to save, if you give me this money, can I please save this money for, XYZ, amount of days because I want to buy this for Christmas. So they're already saving for things they want for Christmas now, for example. So what I would do is I will now take that piggy bank because, their mother is Mother Charity too. So I think they took that from me. So my children will want to take money and give people. So I'll carry piggy bank. I'll just go and put it somewhere that their hands can't touch. Yeah, exactly. So I feel so much joy sharing it because I may have failed in other areas of my life. For me, but you see, in parenting,
it's not a failure. Nothing is a failure, really.
Yeah. So that's the last question is the best part of this because parenting gives me joy. Is one thing that I am so delighted to always talk about because I'm grateful.
Because you're intentional. So that's where we're going to end our live today. I want to say a big thank you to everybody. And to you, you gave me 1 hour, 45 minutes of your time. Thank you all to everybody that has joined and will catch the replay. There is so much we have learned today. Please say thank you to Esther Ijewere. She has been a gem, a woman of wisdom, not just rubies, but wisdom. We're going to end the live today. And remember, you can follow Esther and you can follow at the Soul Clinic online and get help for your mental health where you need it.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.